Hello. Good afternoon. Um, I'm Deo Gracias Afimani, but you can call me Deo. I'm from Afema Ventures. Afema Ventures is a private enterprise. We are based in Arua on Rhino Camp Road. We are engaged in production of nutritious foods and increasing the nutritional value of existing products for the base of the pyramid market and developing resilient supply chains. And I'm in charge of business development and operations. For today's purpose, Afema Ventures was selected for this particular innovation, that is local poultry production and multiplication of orange flesh sweet potatoes for better nutritional outcomes for children in Rhino camp. That is what we are going to be undertaking. And we went ahead and did a cost and benefit analysis such that with the little resources, we can be able to have maximum impact. And we have 3 use cases. The first use case is for poultry and orange sweet potatoes. We estimate that is going to cost us around $77,000 to implement. And the second case scenario is if we are going to do only poultry alone, that is going to cost us around $47,000. And then the third case scenario is if we are going to do about orange flesh sweet potatoes alone, and it's going to cost us $36,000. So we are doing this so that we want to have best use of resources. So this will help discussions going forward when Response Innovation Lab is making the final investment decision on who to support. And what do we have here? You know, what we're proposing for this project is that I want to scale up enterprises for and this is micro enterprises because we are going to provide a vaccination facility and targeting post-harvest losses for biofortified foods. This is to curb anemia and vitamin A deficiency. But look here, from an innovation perspective, I'm not going to tell you that we have invented the chicken or potatoes. I think God already did that for us. The innovation that we're bringing on board is in the business model, you know, to be clear. So we're looking at a trial cost-sharing model for vaccination and poultry. And from our experience, we think this is possible. And then also reducing post-harvest losses. Specific to this nutrition challenge for chronic malnutrition, we want to have better access to these products. So if you look at how is this even possible, you know, because from the overall objective, we want to have improved access to and utilization of safe, diverse, and micronutrient foods for 200 households in Rhino and a pilot stage. The activities that we're going to do, I'm sure most of you are already familiar with this. Those of you who are implementing projects in these various settlements, there's training, going to be procurement of equipment, there's meal, then we're going to distribute startup kits. Fast forward to the intended result, we want to have increased access and utilization of biofortified foods, and then also increase the nutrient consumption of these foods. The challenge already decided on this. This is for pregnant mothers, and the project is supposed to take 12 months. For poultry, I think the poultry can do it throughout the year. But if for the sweet potato aspect, in Uganda we have 2 seasons. The risks that we're looking at is initiating and sustaining community time, particularly for mothers, because mothers are very busy, and then dependence on rain-fed agriculture. We think we already have some mitigation measures in place that we hope to be able to address this, but mobilizing the stakeholders, this is through the CFs and having an on-ground presence. This is a local solution. We live with these people, so we actually have experienced some of these problems ourselves. Okay. And then also we are going to have social behavior change communication strategies. This is to have more involvement because we want to have a better adoption rate. To make this sustainable, even after the close of this support from Response Innovation Lab, the skills and knowledge will be able to create self-sustaining enterprises. And then one exciting thing is Afrima Ventures will be an aggregator and off-taker for these projects. To put that in perspective, look at Mukwano. What Mukwano does, they produce cooking oil, and then during the planting seasons, they give clean the seeds to the farmers, they provide extension services, and then they have an off-taker program whereby they sell the seeds to Mukwano, and Mukwano make the cooking oil. So we're planning to have an off-taker and aggregation mechanism for these products, particularly for eggs, chicken, and for sweet potatoes. And then you'll notice that the equipment that you're procuring, the feed mill, the solar dryers, their lifespan is more than 1 year. So even when the project concludes, the beneficiaries will still be able to access these projects. And then this support from Response Innovation Lab for the private investors or the investment bankers, this is early stage. The normal don't want to invest upstream. But the support from Response Innovation Lab is going to de-risk the whole of this model, and we should be able to take in mostly concessional funding. And we're already looking at term sheets, particularly in Ugandan concerns. There's Uganda Development Bank. I think if Response Innovation Lab comes in place and we do this right, Uganda Development Bank is very excited to see how to scale this up because it is the mandate of the bank. In terms of the minimum viable product, what we have, where we want to go. So I told you clearly that we have not invented the chicken or orange flavored sweet potatoes. People are already doing these things, you know. Like for chicken, our colleagues, they have implemented, like the DINU, the OPM project, they implemented products on chicken in West Nile, they are doing well. And then the CIJA Foundation, the international potatoes, they have had good success on this, the orange flavored sweet potatoes. And I think that is what other partners have done. And how we are going to augment this, we're bringing in the feed mill, the cold chain. This is going to reduce the production costs. In animals, 70% of the production cost is in feeds. By having this infrastructure in place, we de-risk it completely. And then the post-harvest losses. And I think you have the right team right here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Afrima Ventures. A round of applause, please. Another one. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. We are now going to have our second, before that, Q&A from the jury members. Anyone from that jury? The judges online also, if they have a question.
Thank you very much for this interesting presentation and interesting business model that you have thought of. My question is about changing the habits of people that we are targeting. So you are addressing the issue of accessibility of poultry and orange flesh potatoes, and also ensuring that there is sustainability in this access. But how are you going to ensure that mothers actually and children, that they do eat and that they know how to prepare these foods in the most nutritious ways.
Okay, thank you for that. I think Ali also have said this. We also want to thank our friends in OPM, WFP, and UNHCR for the support that they've been giving us and the goal with. We're just getting started. Right to your question, I think, like I told you, we live with the community. We are based in Rhino camp. And recently, I think in January, we went to the field. Also in December, we were in the field with the people on ground, the first responders. So this solution was developed in consultation with the beneficiaries. So it is driven by them. We are just there to facilitate the whole process and make it more sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we come to you, we have a question from one of the judges online. So please, over to you, Max.
In the beginning that you can implement the project either by introducing both chicken and the orange sliced sweet potatoes, or both together. Can you tell me if you introduce just one, either just a chicken or just the potatoes? The question is, what is the benefit of doing both together? Is there a linkage between combining the chicken production and the orange slash potato production? Does it bring more value together than separately?
Yes, good, thank you. I think I'm learning a lot from these questions. Based in the two value chains, how are they related? So we focus on one, so we do both of them. I think from the chicken, the children are able to get heme iron, and they're able to grow properly, and they can be able to get the energy from the sweet potatoes. So that you can have happy children. That's a good package. In terms of the skill set, I think we have experts in both the value chains, and it's a good mix. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Nancy has a question.
Thank you so much, Team FEMA. Yes, for the good presentation. My question relates to the SBC strategy that you front, and you mentioned nutrition education as the main strategy. We know nutrition education largely focuses on impacting the knowledge or giving the knowledge. Which other strategies do you intend to implement to ensure impact, and how do you intend to measure the impact using those SBC, social behavior change strategies, beyond just the education? Thank you.
Yes, another exciting question. Once again, in terms of the behavior, changing behavior, one thing is that the facilitators that we are using, we want them to be living with the community. In fact, they are going to be the beneficiary themselves. They are going to be facilitating themselves. That is one thing. And how they are motivated. You remember, we're running this as a social enterprise. So if, well, like, let's say, someone is engaging in producing chicken and the number multiplies, we can even buy from them. Since we're also an off-taker, I think that will incite them to work harder, but linking it directly to objectives. So if they now are able to sell chicken, so which means they have more money in the pocket, and they can use that money to buy other foods that which they wouldn't ordinarily would, which will even contribute to dietary diversity. I think the whole aspect of social behavior change is just understanding your users and living with them and listening to them all the time. Thank you.
Just a follow-on. Yes, all that can be done, but your ultimate goal is to reduce or at least contribute to the reduction of stunting. We know that the period of implementation could be small, but still whatever intervention you intend or you're pitching here should at least drive us to achieving the ultimate goal of reducing stunting, for example, or anemia. So how do you intend to, other than an impact evaluation, how do do you intend to measure the SBC strategy to ensure that, for example, practice is being done, diversification is being done for the children under 2 years? That's the angle I want you to respond.
It's time out, but we can give 30 seconds just to hear the other question.
Thank you very much, Avema, for your presentation. Related to Nancy, I just wanted to remind you that as we do behavior change communication for nutrition, there are existing frameworks which you must work through in, and I hope you have not mentioned them, but you need to look at them. We have the National Advocacy and Communication Strategy for Nutrition. Currently in West Nile, I think World Food Program is supporting also conducting the regional SBCC strategy for West Nile so that whoever intervenes in that area is able to fit within. And I hope we also should avoid the business as usual of access. I can see you are talking about poultry and the orange fresh, but those are things people have been doing from time to time, and the behavior is not changing. So we need to be assured of how are we going to make sure that from the commercial section, we incorporate seriously the behavior change for improved uptake and improved dietary diversity for those populations. And also the households, I see 9,000 households. What criteria are you going to use to ensure that you don't spread wide and you focus on particular households which you can handle?
Thank you so much for that, for those great insights, Charles. Yeah, timekeeper, I know time has gone, but yeah, thank you so much, Afema Ventures, and please, one more round of applause for Afema Ventures. Right about now, I would like to invite our second presenter. Oh, it's the one online, Yoba for Life. Please note that Yoba for Life.
Yogurt for health and wealth. This idea is presented by the Yoga for Life Foundation. My name is Nika Vestrik, and I'm here this afternoon with my colleague. Good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thanks a lot to the LINS team for inviting us this afternoon to pitch our innovation. Our innovation is Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thanks a lot to the LINS team for inviting us this afternoon to pitch our innovation. Our innovation is locally produced, safe. afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thanks a lot to the LINS team for inviting us this afternoon to pitch our innovation. Our innovation is locally produced, safe, affordable, and nutritious probiotic yogurt for health and wealth. This idea is presented by the Yoba for Life Foundation. My name is Nike Westrik, and I'm here this afternoon with my colleagues, Sibisma. We propose to implement this idea in Kyaka 2 refugee settlements, and we are requesting for a budget of $87,000 for a project of 12 months. The Yoba idea has already been validated for over 10 years. We work in areas where there are local cows, we provide training, and we provide access to the Yoba for Life starter culture. And this culture is very unique as it is tailor-made to the Yoba for Life starter culture. Good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thanks a lot.
Micro gardening.
Hello. Should I start? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Matovu. I'm the founder and CEO of Vertical and Micro Gardening, abbreviated as VMG. And my colleague here is
Rona Nankunda. I'm a nutritionist.
VMG is a Ugandan social enterprise that designs innovations and interventions for people in land-constrained places, including urban areas and refugee settlement. Our flagship product is the vertical farm, as you can see. But for today's cause, we are here to present a vertical farms and microgreens nutrition project to be implemented in Kyaka 2 refugee settlement with a budget request of $38,000. So we are looking at implementing this through two approaches. One is through the installation of vertical farms. Like I mentioned earlier, vertical farms are VMG's flagship product. And a vertical farm is basically a stackable box, or a box of stackable trays of wood. It can accommodate up to 200 plants in 3 by 3 square feet. It also has a vermicomposting chamber, which can be used to turn biodegradable household waste into organic compost, which can be reapplied on the plants in solid form as worm castings or in liquid form as worm tea. If optimized, a farmer can earn up to 6 million Ugandan shillings from a vertical farm in a year. The other approach is through the promotion of microgreens, and we are targeting all the 1,000 families receiving microgreen trays and other supplies, and also offering trainings to do with microgreens. So in total, we are proposing to distribute 10,000 microgreen trays. Basically, we're looking at, we're looking at this as a test. So at pilot, we want to test knowing the product and the innovation, because we have done this since 2014, we know it works, but we want to see, is this something that's feasible in the refugee settlements? So what we are looking at, you can see the objectives, but primarily we want to see a reduction in the cases of chronic malnutrition in infants. One thing about, for instance, microgreens is that they have 9 times more nutrient value than the fully grown vegetables, and they reduce growth time by over 90%. So we're looking at 12 months for this project, targeting 1,000 families, particularly pregnant women, new mothers, and also children under 3 years. Sustainability. So for us, sustainability is embedded in 2 approaches, particularly for the vertical farm. One is that we're proposing a cooperative model where 75 vertical farms will be installed in a shared location for easy monitoring, but also for training and also making sure that there is optimal utilization. And we believe that this will help us yield an estimated 45 tons of vegetables. We're using tomatoes as an example. For microgreens, we're looking at 10,000 trays, as mentioned earlier, and all the 1,000 families will be receiving the microgreen trays. So in terms of sustainability, VMG, definitely we're proposing to take 30%. That will be used for operating expenses, but also to refuel the beneficiaries and recipients of microgreen supplies after the starter toolkit is used up. So what we anticipate is that the 70% that families will remain with is going to be enough to yield at least 30 tons of produce in a year. The credit model, we want to test with at least 25 families with vertical farms and see in terms of affordability and paying back. So they're not paying back using money, but rather with produce. So 25 farms are targeted, and we know for sure that the vertical farms lasts for more than 5 years, but within 2 years, a family can recoup all the money that was invested. So, and the family, making 1.2 million in a year, we believe that this will be sufficient for a family to pay back. But like we mentioned earlier, we want to test and see the applicability of this in the refugee communities. Just talking about VMG, we started in 2014, and to date we are still here. We are a social enterprise. Key to mention related to this project, we just received 50,000 euros from OVO to scale our production capacity, so we are very ready for this project. Last year alone, we installed more than 350 vertical farms. And we have done a similar project, but in slums in Kampala with Anzisha Prize. Our team, you can see, we boast of a multidisciplinary team comprised of nutritionists, agriculture extension, and horticultural experts, but also project experts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vertical and Microgreens. It's time for Q&A, and over to our jury members. Yes.
Yes, thank you, VMG, for the presentation. My question is, basing on the population, especially the refugee population that you would be, targeting, and their, socio-economic status, I'm looking at the sustainability of this project, especially beyond the 12 months, regarding the inputs that are required, especially those the boxes and the seeds that may be required. And I'm assuming that the project is also putting into consideration requirements like water, because those vertical gardens may be requiring a lot of watering. And then my last question is, what is the linkage of these projects that you are proposing to the local markets? Because you are dealing in perishable products. So if there is no ready market, how do you intend to, overcome that, especially to reduce post-harvest loss? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that pitch. And the pitch really focuses a lot on, the livelihood component that focuses on increasing income generation kindly elaborate more on the impact. Yes, there is increase in income, yes, and I'm seeing the intention that you pitched there was to be used for additional units, for investments in additional units, but try to link the income to the impact. Overall, or overaction.
Sure.
Thank you.
If I could see the presentation here. But to start with his question, it was about, yeah, if you go to the next slide. The next one, the next one again, I think, yeah. So we are not only looking at, as you can see from the presentation, only 30% is being consumed. And we're looking at, for instance, microgreens, 150 kilograms, if you can see here, of microgreens being harvested annually, and 45 tons of produce, and we're only taking 30%, and the rest is going to be used by the communities for consumption. But the other thing that we're also looking at is, for the credit model, for instance, it's more of ensuring that the project can sustain itself post-pilot stage. The money that, for instance, in the application we indicated that each family would bring, for instance, a commitment fee. That's meant to help us to see, can we scale this in this refugee settlement or in another refugee settlement? Basically, the funds we're asking from LINS is to help us to roll out the project. And for the 25 vertical farms, it's going to be more of a loan that's going to be paid back in terms of produce.
We had a question from one of the members that you've not yet addressed.
What was it about? I don't remember. Oh, linking the impact. Okay, so the first thing is that we're doing two things. We're proposing two things, microgreens and the vertical farms. Microgreens grow very fast. Within 7 days, 7 to 21 days, you're already harvesting. So the linkage between two projects is that we're thinking about vertical farms long-term, microgreens short-term. But again, like we mentioned, we want to test both, and we also welcome advice on what can work best, or if we can integrate both. But our proposition is that we can have both implemented at the same time.
Maybe I could add something. So if the refugee people are able to earn some money, then it means they have the ability to purchase certain things for themselves that could contribute to their nutrition.
Yeah, and about the market, we shall also help with bulking and market linkages.
Thank you so much. One question from Charles, and
Thank you. My question is still go back on no business as usual. As I mentioned for group one, the issue of linking the behavior change, because all of those things we're talking about, if we cannot create behavior, our main problem for nutrition outcomes is behavior change communication. As we have the markets, yes, as we have access, we can have access to the food, but the people are not consuming. And of course, issues of the utilization. I think we can have that element to be put there. And as I mentioned, I don't see continuously the linkage with the existing interventions. Remember, we are now going to implement activities within the government direction of the parish model, which has behavior change communication, social mobilization. You have also talked about those funds. So try to see how you can link up in that direction.
Thanks so much for that question. First of all, I would appreciate, you mentioned about the frameworks earlier. We would really love to work within those frameworks. But also, in terms of awareness creation, the biggest chunk of the work that we propose in the work plan is to do with the trainings, awareness creation, but also we are very open to working with other organizations on the ground that are already doing awareness creation.
thank you very much. A big round of applause for vertical and micro gardening. right about now, we are going to have a presentation from Yoba for Life. Great. Yoba for Life is not yet ready. So a big round of applause for healthy entrepreneurs. You're very welcome. We'll project the presentation and then we will start timing.
Let me already introduce myself. My name is Tosca. I'm the project manager of Healthy Entrepreneurs, nutritionist by background. Here to tell you something about Healthy Entrepreneurs. While waiting for the presentation, Healthy Entrepreneurs, we are a social enterprise operating in rural and remote areas of Uganda. We operate via a sustainable business model whereby we train traditionally trained VHTs that are active in remote rural areas where the distance to health facilities is often far, more than 5 kilometers away, and community members have difficulty in accessing, and we provide them with a small credit to actually start selling healthcare products in their community. They also receive a smartphone that has health educational apps, consulting apps, and possibility to order products with their phone from our warehouse. So with the training, with the starter kit, they can kickstart their small healthcare shop, as you can see it, thereby providing immediately access, thanks for the presentation, to these remote and rural areas where we operate. This generates an income for the first traditionally voluntarily worked VHD, so now they really can start earning a sustainable income. They spend more time on their work, they are more motivated, they make more referrals to health facilities, and we can generate a 55% cost savings for the community members by making these products easily accessible in their community. They save valuable transport costs and valuable transport time. And furthermore, all of our products are below market price because we buy in bulk and we have lots of purchase benefits. Next slide, please. Next slide. So what we see is actually a market opportunity. On average, studies show that families in rural areas, in hard-to-reach areas, they spend about $100 a month on out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. If you take the population of sub-Saharan Africa, which is 600 billion people, it's a total cost of $12 billion per year that's spent on healthcare expenses, including nutrition products. Of this cost, 55% are spent on transport costs alone. We see this as a market opportunity, and we see that this money can be spent more effectively. So therefore, our model, bringing products closer in the community, saves these 55% costs that are normally spent on transport. Next slide, please. So for this proposal, we aim to support malnutrition and stunted children in the Refugee Kyaka 2 settlement by training 200 VHDs to become an entrepreneur. Thereby we can reach 6,000 pregnant women and children under the age of 2 with nutrition products, healthcare products, training and education, and using a financial sustainable model. Our total budget is about $100,000, of which we invest ourselves also $24,000. However, we feel that also with the implementation of 100 entrepreneurs, we can also run a viable pilot. Next slide, please. So our model, we buy nutrition products, healthcare products, over-the-counter medicines. We store it in our local warehouse and we distribute it directly to our entrepreneurs on site. and they distribute it to their community. Next slides. Our model, again, as I explained, we train and we recruit VHDs. They are trained to become an entrepreneur. They receive access to our product basket. They receive a smartphone containing educational apps. And with that, they can support the community by providing easily accessible, life-saving healthcare and nutrition products in the community. Next slide. So our assortment is quite broad. We really have a one-stop shop for your entire healthcare needs. So we have medicines. It's mainly integrated community case management treatment. So that's malaria, diarrhea, pneumonia for children under the age of 5. We have some personal healthcare products, soap, shampoo, condoms, and a big nutrition assortment. So those are fortified porridges, vitamin supplements, RUTFs, and everything is paired with education and training. At the moment, we have a network of over 6,000 entrepreneurs active in Uganda, all only in the remote and rural areas, and have already saved a lot of cost savings for these communities. We feel that our model is also suitable for the refugee settings because we have experience in remote and rural areas. It's an income-generating model. It's a sustainable model. And we really provide access to treatment and healthcare products. So the pilot plan, as I said, 200 community health entrepreneurs are trained, providing access to healthcare and products, and can start generating a sustainable income for themselves. We have a holistic approach, so it's nutrition, but also paired with water, sanitation, hygiene, and medicines, all to target that whole problem of stunted and malnutrition children by tackling the whole healthcare approach. Every 2 weeks we deliver products to our entrepreneurs, and once every 2 months we also retrain our entrepreneurs on new topics, new products, and we are looking forward to collaborate with other partners to expand our product basket and add new products. Next slide. So for the nutrition solution, we have one-on-one training of our entrepreneurs for the community members, training materials, digital materials and tools available on the phone. We have a call center available with a nutritionist. It's a toll-free line, so our entrepreneurs can call 24/7 with our nutritionist for any dietary questions, different type of products, and also screening opportunities with a MUAC, a weighing scale, and a nutritionist available. Next slide. Our model is completely sustainable based on the low margin high volume model. So because we already have a network of 6,000 entrepreneurs, we can run a financial sustainable model. The revenues generated by the entrepreneurs are can cover all the costs. And these 200 newly trained entrepreneurs will be integrated into our entire model, and thereby we can run after also the project ends and continue supplying them with access to healthcare products, nutrition products, training, etc. Our team consists of the product manager, me, I have a background in nutrition. We have area managers, we have trainers, supply chain managers, and nutritionists on the call center available. Next slide. All right, thank you. We are looking forward to hearing your feedback. Private sector is prerequisites for sustainability, and we're here really also to collaborate with other partners who have nutrition products and innovations to add it into our assortment and making sure these products really reach the last mile and into these refugee settlements.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Q&A now from our jury members. Yes, we have one person online. Yes, Lynn, over to you.
I wonder if you've done a mapping of if there already exists community health volunteers in the camp that you are proposing this intervention. and how you, because normally there exists a lot of community health and nutrition volunteers who do the MUAC screening, who refer for treatment, etc. So just wondering if they already exist in the camp and they already have buy-in from the community members, and if they have a lot of acceptance, how will you work together with that? Will this be a duplication of what may already exist? And my second question is that I saw that one of the nutrition products that you plan to sell through the CHEs are RU2F, or locally produced ready-to-use therapeutic foods. And ready-to-use therapeutic foods are normally used or are used for treatment of acute malnutrition, often given for free. So I'm wondering if your CHEs will rather sell these products and also to children who don't have severe acute malnutrition. I'm just wondering if you can elaborate a bit on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. Indeed, we have already done a mapping. VHTs are available in these communities, and we don't want, it's not an extra thing, it's not a duplication of their work, it's actually strengthening the existing activities that they already have. VHTs are trained and are implemented by Ministry of Health to provide first-line healthcare in the community, to have access already to these medicines. But often, they don't have these treatments available. It's a voluntarily work. They don't have the right skills and knowledge. We only strengthen then their work and their activity to do what they are supposed to do. And now with a sustainable supply of products, training, information, support system, and are now able really to support and help their community as they were trained to do as well. They will still be attached to their health facility. They will still do the same reporting, and we have good contact with the health facility that they are attached to, and we will make sure that it's completely integrated into the existing healthcare system. For your second question, indeed about RUTFs, so we are able to sell prescription medicines because we have what is called the innovation called Doctor at a Distance. This was a bit what I linked to with the call center. We have the nutritionists and doctors available at the call center, and with the innovation with telehealth are able to screen malnourished children. So the application on the phone of the entrepreneur allows entrepreneurs to screen for malnourishment. So they weigh children, they measure children, and enter the results in an app, which the results are shared with a doctor in our call center. And they can advise for referral or advice for treatment. Therefore, we are able also to treat with a bit more higher prescription. For example, also diabetes and hypertension, we are able to distribute with this telehealth model. We do want to make some of the products free because of our entire broad assortment and the revenues that we generate on other products such as shampoo, malaria treatment, paracetamol. We are able to provide some of these products also for free using our very effective distribution network and have these products either subsidized or free of charge.
Thank you so much. Another question from Nancy.
Thank you so much, health entrepreneurs, for your presentation. I see you're fronting it from the treatment or management perspective and less from the preventive. Well, with the business model tagged to the management, especially of malnutrition cases, I see when you look at the whole 1,000 days windows of opportunity, we are leaving out the pregnant and the lactating mothers. I think the focus is a lot on the children, right? Okay, maybe you'll respond to that. But then I think we really need to see business models that are sustainable to address the three challenges. Yes, we could front it from the treatment side, but how will you ensure that some of these, interventions are sustainable to the community, are selling, and yet as a country, it's given for free. It's within the minimum care package. And maybe the question is, how are you engaging with the partners the development partners like the UN agencies. UNICEF provides the free RUTF. There's vitamin A supplementation that should be given free to the children. So how sustainable is that, and what other business, locally market-driven innovations do you have? Doing business differently, you know, from what you're already doing as a project, because you're just adding money to an existing project. So what else can you do that could be sustainable? Even when you leave, the community can still take on. Thank you.
So we have an assortment also for pregnant women. We have prenatal vitamins. We have specifically designed porridges that have added vitamins for pregnant women. We do follow-ups and make sure that entrepreneurs, because they are so linked also to health facility, make sure that the pregnant women also visit the health facility. I'm sorry, I see my time's out. Can I only respond to the sustainability question? So I fully agree with you that projects need to be sustainable and run for a longer period of time. Therefore, free products just don't work. It's not sustainable. If you want to provide free access to healthcare and free products for all people in Uganda, I think you need about $10 billion a year on free products, and nobody has this money. It's just not available. So yes, it should be for free, but as long as there's not a good health insurance system in place in Uganda, it will never be possible to have free products for everyone. So therefore, we just need to start thinking different and need to start thinking in sustainable models whereby by keeping costs low, small margins, making it very still affordable for community members to buy products, make sure that these products are continuously available. We see too many stock outs. Products don't reach areas if it's free products because it doesn't work like that. You need to have a sustainable model, and only then you can really create a change. So we really are trying to do that by keeping costs low, but still having a financial sustainable model there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, health entrepreneurs. A very big round of applause. Now, we are going to have Yoba for Life pitching online. And key to note is the LINS team really apologizes for this technical glitch, and technical issues are not due to the presenter, but due to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. Am I audible for everyone? All right, thanks team for allowing us this opportunity to present here today, for all the efforts you are going through to making us, allowing us to do this online. The innovation we want to present is safe, affordable, and healthy, locally produced probiotic yogurt for better nutrition and incomes. This innovation is presented by the Yoba for Life Foundation. My name is Nike Westerik, and I'm here together with my colleagues Arinda Nelson and Wilbert Siebesma this afternoon. The total budget for this project is $87,000, of which $10,000 will be contributed by the Yoba for Life Foundation. I'm still not seeing my own slides. I don't know if this is the case for all the people who watch online. But in the meantime, I will continue. Yoba for Life works in areas where there are local small-scale dairy farmers. There we provide training on how to produce yogurt from this milk using a very simple production protocol. And then also we provide access to a tailor-made culture, which is tailor-made for use in rural areas for small-scale production. One sachet of the Yoba process can produce 100 liters of yogurt. Besides, it's a probiotic, and over 1,000 studies have shown that probiotics are able to improve the immunity and boost the digestive health. So what we do, we bring together these trained people, the milk that is obtained from the farmers, the culture, which is distributed through local agents all through the country. In Uganda, we have currently working with 12 agents. And then we also link to other players in the value chain, such as packaging providers. So when this is all brought together, we now enable people to produce, sorry, still struggling with the slides. We now bring people together to produce this probiotic yogurt. The yogurt can stay for 30 days in the fridge, but also for 3 days outside the fridge. We are collaborating with solar projects to also allow our producers to access solar refrigeration. We can go to slide 3. Yes, our innovation responds to malnutrition in 3 ways. First of all, yogurt is of course purely on the basis of milk, which is an animal-sourced food product, and the World Health Organization indicates that animal food products are the best high-quality, nutrient-rich food for 6 to 23-year-old children. Secondly, as I mentioned, the probiotics in themselves have additional health benefits. So they help to reduce the incidence and severity of infectious childhood diseases such as diarrhea and respiratory tract infections. Thirdly, and what is very unique about our intervention, previous slide, is that we don't just provide these products, but we enable people to make those products. And this value addition and income generation also creates income, which again, the income can be used to improve the nutritional status of these families. As we see here on the picture on the right, yogurt can be made, previous slide please, yogurt can be made using only very simple equipment, and yet because the whole process takes place in the closed environment of this milk can, pasteurization, incubation, etc., this obtains a yogurt which is, when you take it to the lab, it complies with all the national standards in Uganda for a safe and nutritious yogurt. But if the business evolves, again, profits can be reinvested back into the business, and we see steps of expansion and professionalization. Next slide. Next to the technical training on how to make yogurt, we also provide business development training and coaching, such as making of a business plan, training on financial management, bookkeeping, and marketing. These are equally important to create sustainable entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. The business is specifically attractive to youth and women, as it is a form of food production which is interested for women, but also it requires a very minimal startup capital, which is also good for both these gender groups. Next slide. The yogurt is sold through all marketing channels, small shops, but also schools. And one small pack of yogurt, as you see in this picture, is only 500 Ugandan shilling, or $13, and that is the commercial price, not a subsidized price. So the product is very popular among young children specifically. Next slide. Our plan for this innovation fund is to bring the successful Yoba for Life concept to the refugee settlements, and there are a specific focus on the consumption on those children below the age of 2. So the key activities are identification of potential producers with an entrepreneurial mindset, and that entrepreneurial mindset is very important for the success of the business. Then technical training and coaching on yogurt production, hand in hand with those business development training and coaching. Once the business is up and running, we provide support to comply with all the requirements of the UNBS, Uganda National Bureau of Standards. An activity of particular focus is awareness campaigning. Yoba for Life already has a lot of experience with awareness campaigns, but we will also build on the experience of the LINS team to get these specific campaigns that can work in refugee settlements. For example, working through lead mothers or to village health teams. All these activities are supported by monitoring, evaluation, and documentation of learning. And we hope we target to reach 4 female producers in this first pilot, and then a balanced gender group of 16 workers in these production units, 80 farmers who deliver the milk, previous slide, 50 other actors in the value chain, and then 4,500 children below the age of 2, and also 7,500 children from 2 to 12 years old. We expect a few risks. First of all, milk shortage, but to mitigate this, we only work in Kyaka 2, where there's more access to milk, and also we collaborate with an SNV project, which helps dairy farmers in that region. The second risk is extreme poverty, whereby people might not be able to buy this product, and that's why this pilot, we want to start modest with 4 producers so that we don't overproduce a product for which we are not sure of the demand. The last risk is the popularity of the product. We know it's very popular among the Ugandan population, but we are not yet sure of Congolese refugees. So again, this point of awareness creation comes in as a point of which will have a lot of focus in our project. Next slide.
Sorry, Nike, 1 minute to conclude.
All right. Sustainability. Uganda has already over 140 yoba producers. We are active already in Uganda for over 40 years. Many of them never received any financial support, and also after a year or so, technical support is no longer required. So we ensure sustainability in the current pilot through certification by UNBS, through linking them through all the actors in the private sector. And for adoptability in new camps, we also want to link them to finance institutions to access some access to finance. Next slide, please. The project will be implemented by our strong and energetic team in Uganda. We also have teams in other East African countries, but of course this innovation is in Uganda. Next slide, please. And last but not least, this is the team behind the innovation. First of all, our country representative, Arinda Nelson. Unfortunately, he's for a short course on dairy processing in the Netherlands. That's why he couldn't be there live today. I myself, regional coordinator of East Africa, I'm currently presenting from Tanzania, so also apologies that I couldn't be there live. And then the founding directors, Professor Remco Kort, professor in microbiology, and Dr. Wilbert Sibesma, who has a long history of working in management functions in reputable companies like DSM and Nestle. Last slide. So I want to close this presentation with thanking once again the LINS team a lot for giving us this opportunity, and we welcome your questions and suggestions.
Marjorie.
So we're going to have Max and then Lynn, please. But wait, because the sound is a bit weird.
Yeah, if you can hear me. My question is about the nutrition impact you're expecting. Would introducing probiotic yogurt into the diets of expecting mothers and young children, what nutritional impact do you see? Would it be something marginal? Would it be something that can have a more measurable results in malnutrition? Can you say a little bit more about the expected results from introducing the yogurts in a diet?
Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor to my colleague Wilbert Sibesma, who is also here, so that you can also see his face. I think he is well placed to respond to your question.
Thank you, Nika, and thank you for this question. What I would like to say is that the interesting thing from the yogurt is that it is a combination of macronutrients, so the proteins are, for instance, in it, which is very important, and the micronutrients. The micronutrients, it are not only the goodies produced by the bacteria during the fermentation, such as vitamins. Vitamins are produced during the fermentation, but also it actually through the fermentation you are unlocking the goodies in the proteins. So a digested milk protein is much more bioactive and valuable as a micronutrient than the entire main casein dairy protein. And the third one is actually you are providing validated probiotic bacteria. We are using the generic version of the quite famous LGG, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, GG bacterium, which is known to enhance immunity. Now, and I like to summarize immunity as actually a better resilience, and this will help the pregnant women to better resist. Does this answer your question?
So, yes. I mean, maybe just to, in terms of how much you expect, the yogurt consumption to be, then do you really, have you seen elsewhere measurable changes in chronic malnutrition when the yogurts have been introduced?
Yeah, there have been numerous, I think more than 100 publications on the consumption of yogurt and on the consumption of supplements, but supplements are very expensive, probiotic supplements. It's known that enhances the strength, the immunity, the resilience. So the interesting concept here is then that the bacteria grow automatically in the yogurt from the milk from the African cows, but to put it into a better context, children, the children group we are talking about here, 100 milliliter a day will already give a significant contribution to their strength and development. It depends, of course, what they are also eating in their daily diet. For the adults, for the women, would recommend, would go closer to get a good impact based both from the macronutrients and from the micronutrients, if we talk here about 250 milliliter per day.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you hear me.
We can hear you now.
You can hear me? Great. All right, then I'll go. Thank you, Yoga for Life, for a very interesting presentation. My question is a bit linked to Max's question, because our target group is children 6 to 24 months. And by introducing yogurts, I have a few questions. Because the WHO, definitely, as you mentioned, recommends a diet from animal sources, but they also recommend breastfeeding as a main source of food, being a substantial part of children's diet from until they are 2 years and beyond. That is a WHO recommendation. And also in the field of working in camps, we need to adhere to the infant feeding in emergencies operational guidance, which says that we cannot promote milk products that may undermine breastfeeding, because we know that if we promote products that are seen to be a breast milk substitute, this can undermine breastfeeding practices. And when I looked at your slide number 5, it looked like the yogurt was presented in packaging. So anyway, I just wanted to hear if you can reflect a bit on the kind of, how do you see that your product can undermine breastfeeding as it is a dairy product? I don't know how liquid it is, or maybe if you can talk about the texture as well. And also, yeah, what will the product look like that you will be introducing in these camps? Will it be like milk bottles, or yeah, what will be the actual product? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Lynn. As I was saying, over the past 10 years, we have been working in Uganda. Currently, we are working with 140 producers. And what is important to note is that Yoba is not the owner of any of them. They are not branches of Yoba. They are just individual entrepreneurs who run their own business, and we just provide support. So that's also why you see that every business can choose their own type of packaging material. Of course, we as Yoba, we know all the places where to get packaging material. We know all the prices. So we provide them with the information. We do the linkage, but it's their choice and it's their business. And we also help them, of course, on labeling aspects according to the required guidelines. This yogurt, yeah, it is yogurt. I think most of us are familiar with yogurt. It's quite a bit thicker than milk. It can be drinking, but it can also be taken with a spoon. So that, and we have never made any effort in, I think, if for example, a powder milk is a breast milk substitute, they will advertise such, but for us, we have never used such kind of advertising. It's just a yogurt like any other yogurt, but through this project, we will raise awareness that this yogurt, which can actually be taken by everyone, by adults, by children of all age, which is currently also done in Uganda, but through this project, we will say this is a normal yogurt, but it's advisable for also the young children to take this as a supplementary food.
Give some few minutes to Yoba for Life due to the technical glitches that have been there, and we'll give an opportunity to the physical members of the jury if they have any questions. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. This is just a general comment. I've been checking on the focus of the project, the fight against malnutrition for the first 1,000 days, and also the second focus, which is on potential to sustain themselves through market forces. I see the market forces coming in stronger, but the element of nutrition is continuously missing, and I would advise as follows. For 623 months children, we have very big problem of raw dietary diversity, meal frequency, and minimum acceptable diet. And those are things which can improve within a period of 12 months. If they don't improve through this intervention, then it will have been a disservice. 2, that's the period when we have complementary feeding. Therefore, we must promote continued breastfeeding with the complementary foods. I wish we could see the innovations talking about what are the common what are the local available foods that we can convert into complementary foods to improve the dietary diversity. Because most of the things being mentioned are basically what we know that always happen and has not improved the things. Then for the yogurt, we could focus on the women, the pregnant, the lactating mothers. Since the project is talking about 1,000 days, 1,000 days does not specifically focus only on the 623 months. It is a cross-section of the pregnancy and 0 to 24 months. That's the general comment for all of us.
Maybe just to add that it will be helpful or beneficial to the jury if the innovator sort of tagged their project to a challenge area, because like the yogurt and the previous presentation was off. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yoba. And not to repeat what the other judges have said, my question is about the feasibility, especially of fitting all the activities within the 12 months, especially from the point of identification of entrepreneurs until you start the production and having an impact, especially on the nutrition. Then the other issue is, I think I'm mainly concerned about the gender dynamics, especially when you are dealing with entrepreneurship projects. How are we going to involve especially the mothers? Because we know that this has a link on how it trickles down to the children and essentially addressing issues related to malnutrition at the household level. So how are the mothers involved in this production of yogurt project? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll hand over to Yoba for Life to answer the last question of how are the mothers going to be involved in this project and how will they be linked to the children. But we've appreciated the insights, and just like we mentioned earlier, the project will be refined further to make sure that we are addressing the objectives of the Challenge Fund. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the remarks and the questions. I would like to give the floor to my colleague Arinda Nelson, Country Coordinator Yoba for Life Uganda, to respond to this last question on how feasible is the whole concept and how can we involve especially also the women or the mothers.
Thank you very much, Nick, for the presentation, and also the team that is based in Uganda currently that have organized this event. He asked about the activities to be implemented in the short time. I wanted to assure him that establishing producers is one of the easiest tasks, because we said we are going to look at people who have an entrepreneurial mindset and who are linked to already sources of milk, so that it can be easier to have the 4 producers in the shortest possible time. And this is an activity that we've done several times and we have good experience in it. About gender dynamics and also involving mothers in production and promoting of this yogurt, like Nikki said, we already have a history where most of the people, like we have a big percentage of women involved in production and marketing of the yogurt, where the production producers are mostly about 36% women owned and also youth. And she also mentioned that we are going existing structures of GSP and also the lead mothers in being able to market, like enlighten the mothers and the children and other families who are able to make decisions in making sure that they produce yogurt and then the children can be able to take it. Actually, adding also, of course, also having the youth, it becomes actually very dynamic and quick to have the product reach the mothers in the shortest of possible time, and also making sure that the mothers can be able to give the children the yogurt. Thank you.
A round of applause again for Yoba for Life. Thank you so much for that presentation. As per our agenda, we are going to go for a small tea break for the physical participants. And for the participants online, please stay tuned, grab a cup of coffee, and we're going to have a small exercise in our